Alright guys, welcome back, or welcome to the episode that I've been trying to record for a long time and never got to it. A series that I've been wanting to start since the beginning of the NFL season, a Packers franchise mode. Now, the biggest reason for this is because I just hate how much talent the Packers have. I'm not even a Packers fan actually, I've always hated the Packers because I hate how boring their jerseys are. But I feel like there's there's something missing, so this year wanted to hopefully finish the series. But I'm really excited because I've been really researching mostly everything about the Packers. I mean, the biggest thing was who they selected this year. And I believe like the biggest things is their I think they have a middle linebacker, Quay Walker, yeah. So Devondre Campbell is supposed to be the starter. I mean, he's higher overall, but I'm gonna start Quay Walker over him. And the reason for this is just development, getting him more reps, putting Chris Barnes at left outside linebacker over Jonathan Garvin because I feel like the Packers don't have a lot of problems on offense, or maybe they do, but that's gonna be an easy fix in my opinion. The defense is where they need more help. Obviously the first thing is the linebackers just aren't really that good. So here we have Preston Smith, Quay Walker, and Devondre Campbell in the middle. And then we have Chris Barnes on the left side. And then there's another rookie, I believe. Yes, Jonathan Ford out of Miami. Um, so he is only a 63 overall, but he's going to be our second defensive tackle behind Kenny Clark. I was almost tempted of starting him, but Kenny Clark is just too good to not put into the game. Kenny Clark might be someone that we start shopping, but I don't want to do any trades. Actually, I will be talking more about the rules later, but I want to implement some stuff to make it more realistic and make it more closer to a real series, I guess. Another player that is a young player that we're starting over, not really a big difference, but Jaron Reed was supposed to be the starter at right end, but we'll be starting Devontae Wyatt instead from Georgia. He's a 71 overall, so in a little bit he'll catch up, and then he's barely a rookie, so that's more development we have to do. On the left side, we have some work to do. Dean Lowry and TJ Slayton Jr. just aren't gonna work. If anything, I might start TJ Slayton just because Dean Lowry is just not a player that's gonna be here for a while, and actually, I'm gonna end up doing that. And we'll see how if it affects us big time, then we'll make that change. Up front, we have a decent line, kind of decent on the guards and tackles, but right in the middle at center is where we struggle. Josh Myers is going to be starting for us right now. Right now, take a look at injuries. But the next thing I want to take a look at is another thing that the Packers kind of try to address during the offseason, but not really that greatly. They went into the draft and drafted Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson. Now, recently they've both started to pick it up, but at the beginning of the season it just wasn't looking very good. Um, Big difference here is just Romeo Dobbs switching with Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb's a Packers legend, and as much as I don't really like the Packers, I respect Randall Cobb. Um, I remember watching the Packers when Donovan Driver, Cobb, I think, was it Greg Jennings? I don't want to say the wrong name because it's been a long time. But back to it, he's good, but I want to develop the team. So first, Alan Lazard, of course, best receiver hands down on the team, but he is on a contract year, so we're gonna have to monitor that. And then Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson trying to see how they can develop. And then Sammy Watkins is honestly just here to fill the void. And basically a bridge player like the Madden tags have him. He's a epitome of a bridge player. And then one more thing I have at tailback, we have Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. Now in real life, these two don't do anything for the Packers. I have no clue why. And they barely do enough, honestly, for their like high overall, but in real life it just doesn't it's not looking good for the Packers. Like I said recently, they were better, but I really want to make Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon a really good duo. I feel like we can get more touches to both of them, and then hopefully even Patrick Taylor. I know he's only 2 years out of Memphis at 58 overall, but if we can maybe get him to 63, 64 by the end of the year, we never know. And then of course Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Now I want to take a look at the other spots, or actually, let's talk about the rules real quick. All right, so for rules, I want to say first, I'm gonna limit myself to only 4 trades for the whole year, and then in free agency, only one person over 80 overall. And it doesn't really ever happen, but I'm gonna stick to that. So 4 trades, and besides that, I mean everything should be fine. Um, but I think that's it for talking about the Packers. One person I guess I kind of skim over our starting quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. The reason for that is I feel like everybody knows about Aaron Rodgers at this point. Year, what, 18, 17? And I'm pretty sure he's in the last few years. He's 38 years old, yeah. So he's coming off back-to-back MVP years. Did it mean anything for the Packers? Not really, because honestly, the relationship between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers has just gotten much worse. Let's take a look at his contract and stats so we can see, I mean, maybe what should be his goal this year. I mean, he's been solid the last 2 years. Like I said, he won MVP both years. He threw for 4,200, almost basically 4,300 yards in 2020, almost 50 touchdowns, only 5 picks. But last year it was 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, so 11 less touchdowns, 4 picks. Let's take a look at his contract. So I mean, he signed for 5 more years, so that would put him at 43 years old when his contract ends. Um, I don't know why he would do this if he's so upset about being there. Dang, he's a 4-time MVP. I don't know he had 4 MVPs. I forgot he won in 2011. That's crazy. That feels like such a long time. But Aaron Rodgers so far this year has been doing decent. And then of course we do have injuries, and that's going to be a big difference for this year because of course in real life the injuries are a lot different. I should turn them off, but I guess I forgot to. So let's take a look at injury report, and I know the injuries are also very bugged in Madden, so that's not gonna be good. Rashawn Gary, of course, one of our young players. He has a torn ACL, so he's out. Um, Another injury, and then you see, so we have basically 1, 2, 3, 4 like season-ending injuries. We have Eric Stokes, who's a big hit on corners because right now we're starting our backup full safety at corner because of how bad our corner depth is, and of course Rashawn Gary being out has created that hole at linebacker that hopefully with the rotation of middle linebackers we will be able to fill. But for this episode, I just wanted to talk about the Packers, and then I wanted to simulate the whole preseason because from the preseason we're not really gonna learn anything. We already basically know everything about the Packers, so I kind of just want to see how they play on their own, just simulating. So this first game they're playing the Packers. Um, I'm sorry, the Packers are playing the 49ers, excuse me. And we'll see how they fare. First, let's do the training. See if we have any upgrades. If we do, we'll just wait till after this week. Oh, well, we could just wait till the end of preseason, to be honest. Let's see if we do win this first game. And we don't. We did lose by only 4 points. It was a very low scoring game, 14-10. Very disappointed. Week number 2 against the Saints. Let's see how we fare against them. And then the second week of the preseason, we do beat the Saints. Here we have a wide receiver mentorship, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be yeah, Rondo that quick slant. So it's either getting open or catching in traffic. Let's do catching in traffic because that's more physical, and I kind of want our wide receivers to be physical. And we do lose to the Chiefs, but it was a good game. 30, we only lost by 10 points, 38 to 28. That's what I wanted to see, at least a close game. And then now let's upgrade our players before we go into the regular season to see where we're at. Robert Tanyan's going to get up to an 80 overall. Um, let's work on vertical threat for sure, and we'll get him to 80 overall. I feel like the more offenses use tight ends, usually the better the offenses are. The better, all the best offenses always have a great tight end. Darnell Savage, let's do zone for sure because of the low cornerback play that we're probably gonna have. Probably need a lot of help from the safeties. Dean Lowry, like I said, is gonna be our backup defensive end, but he does get an upgrade here. Maybe he's one of our players that we use one of our 4 trades. I do have to look at the salaries as well and see how we are in that department. Chris Barnes, starting left outside linebacker. Let's see. I'm gonna stick to what I said about the safeties. I'm gonna work with on pass coverage for the linebackers because I feel like the more zone coverage we have, the better our cornerbacks don't have to worry about things. Jonathan Abram is I think he's hurt because I don't think I saw him on the depth chart. He's not hurt. I think he's just a safety that's not playing cornerback. I need to check the depth chart again. Um, but for Jonathan Abram, he's actually an interesting story. Only 3 years out of college. He's only 25. He's still pretty young. 72 overall. So I'm pretty sure he still has some space to develop. He has like 5 years until he's 30. Um, let's work on run support for him. That picks him up 2 overall points. Gives him some good plus everywhere almost. Man, that was probably the best upgrade he could have had. And then the rest are kind of not important. The only one that's important is Aaron Rodgers all the way down here. He's gonna get a boost from a 91 overall. Let's see what he probably should work on. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's anything, but if anything, accuracy. So let's do field general. Um, +2 to throw accuracy short. That may make a difference because I do want to implement the running backs more in screens and short passes because I feel like that's the only way we're gonna be able to move the ball. We don't have that deep receiver threat that the Packers usually had in Devontae Adams. Is a big thing that I haven't even talked about yet in this video. Devontae Adams was the Packers' ride or die wide receiver for the past few years, and it is making a huge difference that he's not there anymore. The Packers didn't really act like it was a big deal. It was a huge deal, and now they're paying for it. And the season's going, oh, I think overall all right for them. I think they're around 500, but obviously it's nothing close to how they were performing years prior. And here we are, week 1, which we're not gonna play, but we are going to set the season goal and talk to all the media, get everything ready. Next video is going to be right into the game. So let's set the season goal. And what is the goal? The past few years, the Packers have, 4 wins, easy. 7 wins as well, pretty easy. Maybe not this year, but in real life. But I feel like in this game and the way we're going to run these Packers, we're going to have at least more than 7 wins. Make the playoffs seems like just a comfortable thing for them in recent years. So for this first year, I think we should continue with that. Make the playoffs. Let's try to. It's not a year to win the big one. The Packers obviously did not prepare for this season that well, and of course with injuries, it just hasn't gone that well. So let's commit to at least making the playoffs and seeing where we can go from that. Rather overachieve than underachieve on our goals. And then real quickly, I'm going to talk about this. The draft class is just going to be a random whatever Madden auto-generated draft classes because honestly those are my favorite, just random. Opening day keys, it's going to ask us what we need to do or what we think we're going to need to do to win the game. And honestly, it's what I've been talking about this whole time. it's running the ball, and I think it's going to be the key to winning a lot of the games this year. I think the more we run the ball and the better we run the ball, the more Aaron Rodgers gets to be a great quarterback. So with that, we set a episode 1 or game 1, sorry, episode 2 game 1 goal of at least 150 rushing yards, which I believe is really easy. And we already had a goal of 200 rushing yards, and I'm not going to change those because I wanted to leave them to what the coach wanted, to what the coordinators want, just to add more realism. Don't want to cheat that because I know you can just get the most points every single week. But I'll just leave it as what the game gave us as goals, and we'll see how that goes for us. Let's simulate the weekly strategy this week so we can maybe upgrade some players before our first game of the season. We did finish preseason 1 and 2, but preseason honestly doesn't really matter. Especially when the backups are playing half the time. And for us to at least have honestly, all 3 close games, except for the second game, which we wanted to blow out. Be close with backups is a pretty good thing for us. We do get an upgrade before game 1 against the Vikings. It's a upgrade to Kenny Clark right in the middle. Let's see what we can increase to maybe get him to an 88 overall, maybe an 89. Let's do run stopper up to an 88 overall for Kenny Clark. I did say that maybe he was someone we trade, but honestly, he might be someone that we have to keep because he's only 26, and I think I saw only 26. Vernon Scott, another player that's hurt. Let's do zone, just because that's what our I guess scheme is right now as well. So Vernon Scott out for the year, but he's another player that in the background we are developing. So here we are, week 1 against the Vikings. I hope you guys are excited for this Packers series because I'm really excited. I've been planning this series out for a long time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I promise y'all more to come soon. I'm excited. I hope y'all excited. Peace.